If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
So I thought I'd do something a little different today. I received a message recently on Facebook. Someone asked me, why do you fight for us? Why do you speak out for us? Or what are you getting about us that most white people aren't? And then they asked, what was the first incident that made you pay attention? So rather than do what I usually do, which is report on whatever story has me pulling out my hair that day, so I want to answer this instead and give a brief insight into why I can't stand by and how the responses I receive fuel me to fight even harder. So why? Well, the first thing I usually speak about is my first experience witnessing racism in the country. I had been here a few days, right? So I was taking a metro train to explore LA. I know who does that. And I was given a metro card by a friend, but I got on the wrong train, so I got off and switched, forgetting to put more money on it. Forgetting. So I got on the train and a metro police officer came round and was checking people's cards. He came to me, checked it, said there was nothing on it, so I batted the baby blues, played the I'm Scottish card, I don't know, and he said, all right, next time just make sure to refill it. And he continued to the end of the carriage, and there was a young black man there, must have been around the same age as me. Headphones in, the officer asked him for his card, same thing, except he wrote this young man a citation and kicked him off at the next stop. Now, it's not like after this incident I was struck by a lightning rod from the woke gods above and joined the resistance. It wasn't until I repeated this story that I began to develop a thirst to ask why and dig a wee bit deeper. So when I told people about this later, I found that the majority, not all, but most of the white people I told the story to would look for ways to rationalize the incident and eliminate race. Well, maybe he'd seen the kid before and he knows what he's doing. Well, I'm sure there's a reason. Well, what was he doing in the first place? Whereas when I repeated the story to people of color who I knew, some just nodded as if, yup, been there, or they shook their head remembering a similar incident. So me being the devious sociological person that I am, I decided to carry out an experiment and tell the story switching the situation where I was the one who was kicked off. And the overwhelming majority of people responded with, dude, that's so fucked up, or why would he do that? Now the thing is, there could have well been another reason why the officer in that situation decided to treat the young black man differently. But I wanted to know why certain people I spoke to about it evoked this instinctive level of doubt in one situation, but not when I switched it. And so from that, in college, I decided to major in sociology and started to immerse myself in the work of C. Wright Mills, James Baldwin, Huey P. Newton, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and studied the ways in which society consciously and unconsciously reify racialized perceptions of people. And the more I studied, the more I seen broader similarities of the one incident I witnessed. Like when a black person is shot and killed by police, there is an immediate presumption of guilt for the victim, whether it be weed, like in Philando Castile's case, or the bad dude comment attributed to Terence Crutcher from 100 feet in the sky.
That looks like a bad dude too, to be honest with you.
Or blaming a 12-year-old Tamir Rice for playing with a toy gun. Whereas when you switch it, in the death of Justine Damond, the Australian white woman shot and killed by a black officer, she was given an immediate presumption of innocence. There was no questioning her actions or her character. In fact, the Tucker Carlsons of the world decided to abandon their go-to vilification of the victim to make excuses for police and eliminate race as a factor, and instead scrutinize the officer.
Mohammed Noor was an immigrant from Somalia. Is that a relevant fact? This guy had been on the force for 2 years. He had 3 complaints against him. Does that seem like a lot?
Something they refrain from doing when the races are switched.
He panicked.
And shot him 4 times.
So this isn't racially motivated.
And he killed him.
Panicked.
Our system of justice, a person is innocent until proven guilty.
So seeing things like this triggers that initial incident in my head, and I ask why. And when I pose these questions, the reaction I get just reiterates why I should ask these questions. Why do you hate white people? You're white, why do you even care? You're the problem trying to start a race war. And again, people looking for ways to avoid the reality that racism still plays a prominent role in the way this country is run today, it still directly impacts the lives of people of color. Whether they're sitting at Starbucks or barbecuing or just taking a nap, it's still there. And I, for one, want to ask why. And continue to make people uncomfortable until they ask themselves why. Because I could have easily just sat back and accepted, oh, that's the way things were on that train, or that there must have been a concrete reason for why the black kid was kicked off and I wasn't. That things are good because they're good for me. And so, I will continue to ask why. Follow me on Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell, and on Twitter also Francis M. Maxwell. You can like and share this video. You can also get the TYT app. And as always, continue to resist.